Hey, so today we're going to talk about how to achieve goals, um, and mostly how to break down goals into bite-sized chunks. So in order to do the hard things in life, in order to achieve a goal, in order to make progress on things that you promise or self-commit to, you have to be able to see it as realistic. And sometimes when you think into the future and you think about a huge goal or something that has been difficult for you in the past, you don't necessarily see it as something that might be very achievable or attainable for yourself. But if you're a mompreneur, entrepreneur like I am, who is also a mom, then that means that you've already achieved the ultimate goal, right? You've already done it one time and you could do it again. So what does that mean? That means that you have children, a child or more than one, and you have a business. Those two things are very life-changing and deeply, what's the word I'm trying to look for? It's life-changing, but it's also very deeply dramatic, and it can be very it could shake up your world. So in a sense, people plan for a business, to start a business. People most often plan to start a business, because I know some people who kind of fell into entrepreneurship by something that they were doing as a hobby, and it just took off. And then some people also fall into having children, but for the most part, you know the child is coming at some point and you can plan for that child. But your goals, sometimes you might write down a goal, you might try to plan for it, but if you don't really know what you're doing and you don't have someone guiding you through, it can seem overwhelming, and it can seem like, okay, yes, I've had children and I've successfully raised them, or I am raising them successfully to the best of my ability. Yes, I started a business and I achieved that goal, but then those two things alone take up so much of your time that there's these little goals in between, or things that you want to achieve, whether it's losing 10 pounds, losing 20 pounds, whether it is having more time for yourself, whether it's being more mindful, and achieving small things can sometimes be a little bit daunting, in a sense that you think it's small, you think it's little, you go, you try it, you add it to your calendar, but then it ends up falling at the wayside. So how do we encompass those goals? How do we include them in our daily lives? First of all, I beg you, and I want to encourage you to start by really evaluating those goals and things that you have. So how do you evaluate a goal and know that it's important enough for you to move forward with, right? Because sometimes you might have a small goal, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna lose 10 or 20 pounds. I'm gonna go to the gym more often. I'm gonna go to yoga more often. But then you get to a point where it's like, okay, this is just too much and my day is full and I'm gonna have to cut some things out. So I'm gonna cut out the small goals. If your goals aren't very significant and you don't have a strong why behind them and a strong reason to get them achieved, then you're most likely gonna start cutting them out. But the good thing is, I'm here to help. So the first step to achieving big goals is to get clear on what those goals are and why you have them. In order to do that, you first want to evaluate your own morals and value system. So what are the things that you value? What are the principles in life that you deem important and necessary to be productive? Once you start to journal about these things, once you start to write down these things, you could even look for inspo on YouTube or Google some stuff, maybe Instagram or Facebook, but you maybe not, because then you don't want to go down the rabbit hole of social media and getting trapped. But you could maybe Google some things on what are some values that people have, what are some morals that people have. And so once you get clear on those things, you could kind of see where your goals fit into that and get into your why. Because if your moral or your value is, let's just say you value health and being healthy, but you don't go to the gym that often, then it kind of makes sense for a gym membership to be one of your goals, or visiting the gym more frequently to be one of your goals, because you value health and you value wellness. So it kind of goes hand in hand with each other. After you've evaluated your values and your morals and your systems of belief, so to speak, The second step is the second step is for you to develop a time frame for these goals. So what is your time frame? Is it something that you want to achieve and have it be a habit within the next year? Is this goal something that you want to achieve and have it be part of your life in the next 5 years? Or are you establishing big, huge goals? Maybe it's a huge financial goal. Maybe you want to make 3 million in the next 3 years. Is it next 5 years? Next 3 years? Like, what is it? What's the time frame for your goal? And the reason why the time frame is so important is because once you get to establish your time frame, the way to make the goal more effective and to actually achieve it is to then squish the time frame down. So if you start off with a time frame of, like, let's just say 5 years to make $2 million, what are the things that you're doing in those 5 years to get to the 2 million? And then you get to evaluate, does it really take you 5 years to get to $2 million? Maybe in your mind it does, but when you break down the actions, can you take those actionable steps and actually condense them from 5 years to maybe 3 years? And so once you do that, I actually did this with 12-week year. So I'm quoting like things from the book called 12-week year. It's actually a whole system, and I've been doing it for the past, I would say, 2 months, and it's been really effective. So I took my 5-year goals. I actually started with 10 years. I took my 10-year goals, squished it down into 5, and what are the things that I have achieved in 5 years that could lead me to the 10-year goals? And then I looked at the 5. What are the things that can lead me to this 5-year goal, and can I squish it down into 3 years? What are the things that lead me to the 3-year goal? Can I squish it down into 1 year? What are the things that lead me to the 1-year goal, and can I squish it down into 12 weeks? What are the things in the 12-week goals that I could squish down into 1 week? And so it kind of like cuts the fat off of the activities of achieving your goal. So let's just say you need 5 steps in order to get to $1 million, right? And these are like huge monumental steps. I'm not saying that it's going to be 5 easy peasy steps. Like, these are big steps, things that you have to achieve. Maybe one of them is maybe one of them is having your book be a bestseller. In order to make your book a bestseller, you got to write the book. Okay, so how are you going to write the book? Are you going to use an AI tool? Are you going to be handwriting it? Are you going to be writing on your computer? How much can you write in a certain amount of time? If you feel like, oh, it's going to take me a year and a half to write the book. Okay, try to condense that down to maybe 6 months. What can you do each month? How many pages or how many words do you need to write each month in order to get your book finished in 6 months? Okay, then take that and say, okay, if I could write this in 6 months, what can I do in month 1 so that I can cut extra time off of my schedule and dedicate it in time block to write this book? Okay, and if I could do that in 1 month, what can I do each week? What can I drop? Maybe you hang out with friends every Friday and Saturday. Maybe you can only hang out on Fridays now, because Saturdays you dedicate to writing this book, writing a certain amount of words or pages in this book. Maybe you use Sunday mornings for like going to church. And I'm not telling you not to go to church, but maybe you want to do virtual church. And so the time that it would take you to travel to church on Sunday and travel back, and maybe go get something to eat after, maybe you take that time and time block and make it and dedicate it, time to your book. And especially if you're an entrepreneur, maybe there's some things that you could delegate certain tasks to other people or employees and dedicate time to writing your book. Or maybe you could delegate your entire book and your thought process to AI systems, or to someone from Fiverr or someone that writes books. Maybe you can have a co-author. Maybe you can use your time to allocate to locate a co-author so that you can share in the experience and they can help you and guide you. Maybe you want to pay a coach to help you write your book. There's plenty of coaching programs that will show you how to do all kinds of things. And coaching programs are super beneficial because it's usually someone that is an expert in that field. It's someone that's already done something that you want to achieve. And so it cuts out the fat of like you having to figure out how to publish your book, how to get it on Amazon, how to get it on Kindle, or what have you. If you could pay somebody or even partner with somebody, and maybe you could even do a barter system. Maybe you don't have the money to pay them right now. If you do a barter system, then you could say, hey, I'll do XYZ for you if you do ABC for me. And so there are different ways to like get your goals done, but the main thing is to try to condense your goals into a short time frame. A lot of the times, well, most of the time, if not all the time, that helps with motivation, because as you get excited with a goal or an idea and as you want to progress and move forward with it, you have the fire lit under your ass, under your butt. You have the fire lit under your butt. You start getting things done. And then over time, the motivation starts to like dwindle out a little bit, and you don't want to do it. You don't feel like doing it. You don't want to keep going through the day-to-day of what it takes to get it done, and it's not as exciting. And maybe you are a motivated person naturally, and you just keep going and you keep pushing through and you get things done. But it's so much better when you have like a short time frame to do something, when you have a due date on something, but a date that is a short time frame will also help you and keep you motivated and get you going and get you to finish your goal and actually complete it. And the feeling that you feel when you get something done and you push through it, even in the times when you didn't want to do it, that feeling is like no other. It's like, okay, I know I didn't want to do this, but I dedicated my time to it. I said I was going to do it, and I got it done. And that's the best feeling in the world. So I hope that these few steps were helpful for you. I hope that you could take something away from it. It's a lot more that could be talked about with this topic. It's a lot more deep diving that we could do. It's a science behind all of it as well. One of the pieces of science is fake it till you make it. So meaning like push yourself through, act as if it's done, keep saying to yourself and your mantra in your morning when you're meditating or whatever ritual you have in the morning to kind of get yourself centered and aligned. Keep just believing in yourself and believing in it's done, and it too shall come to pass. But make sure that you're putting things in place that can help you and assist you with those goals. So like I said, some of the things are like an AI tool, a coach, somebody that can help you. You could actually read the book 12-Week Year. That would help a lot. And also just keep in mind that you want your goals to be meaningful. You have to have a why. It has to make sense to you, and it has to be something that you feel is achievable. And in order to feel like it's achievable, you got to make sure that you're following these steps. It's a lot more that could be done, a lot more that could be said. I'm not going to mention that again, but just make sure that you read this, watch this again, listen to it again. You can't read it because it's audible unless you have an AI tool that transcribes or something like that. But make sure you tune in again and watch it as many times as you need to. You could pull from each thing that I said and actually dive into each topic and like really change your life. I just dropped some gems, so don't take this lightly. Until next time, make sure you do all the friendly things like comment, subscribe, all that stuff, and I'll see you soon.